Good evening. Tonight is the Rochester Board of Education business meeting. Today is November 20th, and we will open the meeting by calling the meeting to order. First, with reverence and pledge of allegiance to the flag, and I will at this time ask Commissioner Patterson to lead us in that effort.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call will be facilitated by Clerk Nguyen.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. This time I will call, in alphabetical order, we'll call for commissioners' attendance, starting with President Simmons,
Present.
Vice President Malloy. Commissioner Elliott is away due to illness. Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner LeBron. Commissioner Patterson.
Present.
Commissioner Santiago.
Here.
That'll conclude roll call.
Thank you, Clerk Nguyen. And I do see the Board of Education upcoming events listed.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. The Board of Education will host the following meetings during December 2025. We'll open on Tuesday, December 9th at 5 p.m. with a public hearing on the closure of Northwest Middle School, followed immediately at 6 p.m. by the board work session. On December 11th, the board will convene a second work session at 6 p.m., followed by the Speakers Forum on Tuesday, December 16th at 5:30 p.m. The Audit Committee will convene immediately after the Speaker Forum, beginning at 6 o'clock, and then the board will close its month with the business meeting on Thursday, December 18th at 6 p.m. as well. All meetings are held here at 131 West Broad Street in Conference Room 3A3B. A couple of reminders is that the board is now hosting monthly speaker forums in order to gather comments on topics related to recent board meetings, including committee meetings, work sessions, business meetings, and et cetera. You may find this current schedule at rcsdk12.org/calendar. Only district students, parents, staff, and City of Rochester residents may speak or submit comments. Non-residents may do so only with the approval of the forum chair. Except for public hearings, speaker forums are the only opportunity for the community to address the board, and each registered speaker may speak for up to 3 minutes. If you're using translation, you may speak up to 6 minutes, which includes your 3 minutes of comments. In order to speak or submit written comments, please contact the Board of Education office by noon on the day of the forum at 262-8525 or at boardofeducation@rcsdk12.org. Lastly, I'll share that if folks remember, the board has elected to have parent and student advisors participate in our work sessions, which convene on the second Tuesday of the month. The application process is now opening in the hopes of seating advisors at the start of the calendar year in January. So in order for parents or students to apply to become an advisor, you may do so by going to rcsdk12.org/BOE-REP. And I'll note that only parents and legal guardians of students who are currently attending an RCSD school and are not employees of the district can serve. And interested students who are currently attending an RCSD school in grades 8 through 12 with good academic standing and on track to graduate will be allowed to serve. Thank you. That concludes the month's events.
Thank you, Clerk Nguyen. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for the acceptance of minutes, and these would be for the October 14th, 16th, and November 4th work sessions.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Malloy,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Patterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Advisory Council reports. We do have one Advisory Council report today, and that will be from our Bilingual Education Council. We do have representation. At this time, I invite you to the podium to present your name as well as your report, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Pablo Sierra. I'm president of the Bilingual Education Council. Following a successful October meeting held at Anna Murray Douglas Academy, the Bilingual Education Council held its most recent meeting last Wednesday, November 12th, here at the District Central Office. The Concilio's guest speaker was our Superintendent, Dr. Eric J. Rosser, who explained his vision for the district to our families, teachers, principals, and community members. Our meeting took the fireside chat format, and it was truly a bilingual event thanks to the interpretation of Chief of Communications Marisol Lopez, and we're very grateful for that. We addressed the need for community feedback and completed the district's new survey on the next budget plan. And during this Q&A session, the Concilio participants raised a number of questions about how to prepare a pool of substitute teachers for bilingual schools, how to increase the number of bilingual social workers, counselors in these classrooms. Parents expressed the need to better understand the bilingual education pathway past the K to 6 years and into middle school and high school. And in fact, just this morning, we completed a visit to Edison Tech, and that school will be the focus of our next meeting. We will discuss the seal of biliteracy then, and we invite you all to attend if you're able to on Wednesday, December 10th. Rápidamente, la traducción al español. Este pasado miércoles 12 de noviembre tuvimos una reunión del Concilio de Educación Bilingüe con el doctor Eric J. Rosser, nuestro superintendente, quien compartió su visión para el distrito con las familias, maestras, directoras y diversos miembros de la comunidad. La reunión se llevó a cabo en formato Fireside Chat y fue un evento exitoso gracias a la interpretación de la jefa de comunicaciones Marisol López. En particular, se discutió la necesidad de recibir comentarios de la comunidad para completar la encuesta del distrito sobre el próximo presupuesto. Y durante la sesión de preguntas y respuestas, los participantes plantearon varias dudas: cómo preparar a un grupo de maestras suplentes para las escuelas bilingües, cómo aumentar el número de trabajadores sociales bilingües en estas escuelas. Las madres y padres también expresaron la necesidad de mejor comprender la trayectoria de la educación bilingüe más allá de los años kinder a sexto año y cómo avanzar el programa de estudios a la secundaria y bachillerato. Finalmente, los queremos invitar a la siguiente reunión en Edison Tech el miércoles 10 de noviembre. Nuestro tema principal será el sello de bilingüismo. Están más que invitados. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. We are going to move forward to our board reports. At this time, I understand we have a finance report, Superintendent Rosser, and so I'm going to allow you to call up your.
So yes, we have been doing a lot of work in the district, but one of the responsibilities that we have this evening, of course, is to provide an update on our finances. I'm going to have Chief Financial Officer Mr. McDowell take the podium and lead us in conversations around our current financial standing. Mr. McDowell?
Thank you, Superintendent Rosser. Okay, so, you got that there. All right. It's tough getting older as you try to read and look at things when your eyesight is not as great as it used to be, so bear with me. So this report is for our October finances, and I try to do a comparison of what we look like last month and last year. And I'll try to keep it consistent with last year at this time. Last year, our cash at the time was about $48 million lower than what we have here, which is about $313 million in the bank, which is an increase of about $48 million. And most of it is applicable to just performance over the 12-month period. One thing of note, and you'll see this later in the packet, is in October, we received minimal state aid. I want to say the number was about $6.4 million, and in September, we received about $80 million. So that's the reason why our cash flow is, our cash in the bank is lower, is because we had more expenses than revenue. When we move to the second page of the presentation, you start to get into your grants and our changes in our expected money for special aid. Biggest change you'll see is a $1.2 million award for our Title I SIG, offset by a few other adjustments, total increase of about $800,000 for your special aid fund for the month of October. And below that, you can see our fund balance and our basic calculations for what our expected revenues and expenses will be for those three funds for the year. Move to the next page. You can keep going. On page 3, just a summary of the general fund, what we've spent so far, less our expenditures for special aid and for food service also. One thing that I would like to see, because it shows right now that we have $664 million available in our general fund. That's because we haven't encumbered all of our salaries for the year. So in the next probably 2 to 3 months, I would like to do that because that'll give me a better idea of how we look financially, and that'll give the board and superintendent, more information to be able to use for predictable type things that they would like to spend possible monies on towards the end of the year. So, but right now, when it shows 663 million, it looks like we can spend money on anything, and that's not the case. The next slide will show our bank accounts and what we have there. And I think the biggest adjustment here is on the first line. Last month, for comparison, in our general fund checking, we had almost $110 million in the bank, earning less interest. So conversations with the city this month entailed us moving more money into our I guess you'd say, higher interest-bearing accounts for night class. So the numbers last month were about 220 million in night class. This month we have about 257 million in night class. So earning higher interest, letting our money make money so that we can obviously do more for our community and our kids. And on the next slide is just a overview of our cash flows. Most important thing, if you have it in front of you and you can see, when you look at September and October, you look at the second line, basically state and federal aid, and you can see why our cash decreases because, again, that's where the 79 million in state aid is. For September and October, we receive about $6.2 million. So we spent more money in October than we receive, hence your cash flow goes down. But this is cyclical for us because the state usually pays us state aid over usually a 3 or 4 month period when we receive most of our monies. The next couple slides are just visual illustrations of what our cash flow looks like this year and last year. Then you start to move into the actual summaries of your revenues for this year. You start with your budget, your any estimated or changes or estimates or changes to get to your estimated revenue, and then what we've received. If you compare this year or this month to last month, we received about an extra 24 million. Most of that came from the city of Rochester and then basic foundation aid. Same thing for your special aid funds and your grants. Not much activity here, but again, want to make sure that the board and the community knows exactly what we're receiving, when we're receiving it, so that there are, just to make sure we're transparent. All right, then the next 4 or 5 slides or 4 or 5 pages are just your summary of all of our general fund, our special aid, and our food service accounts, their original balances, the updated current budgets, what we've spent, what we have committed, and then what we have available. Again, I would like this to be a little more up to date with what we have encumbered because it'll give me a better idea of what we really look like, and we'll work on that in the next couple months. If we move to page 13, you start to get into all of your budget transfers, and I won't bore you on the next 32 pages of budget transfers, but again, all of these follow board policy, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Last page is your charter school budget analysis, and again, this is just to show you how many students we predicted to have and how many students we actually have, because compared to last month, we expected to have almost 8,700 students in charter schools as of November 1st, and that number is down by about 195 kids, which is a really good occurrence for us because obviously we have to pay for each of those children. So this spreadsheet gives me a really good idea of what I expect to be, for us to pay for the whole year for charter schools compared to what our budget is, and then to prepare for next year also. Any questions?
Thank you. So at this time, does anyone have a question they'd like to present to regarding the financial information provided? With no questions, I do, just an inquiry, Dr. Ross, around the charter school. That is good news. And I see that our tuition is listed here. That's not inclusive of transportation. That's a whole nother budget line, or am I getting
That
that
would be
wrong?
correct.
Okay, that'd
Yeah,
be correct.
transportation and excess cost data are separate lines. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, quite a bit. Okay, I don't have any further questions, and with none being presented, we thank you for that presentation. And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the unaudited financial report for November 2025.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Very quickly, I'll provide an update on my happenings with the verbal president's report for the month of November. And some of my community meetings included meeting with Regents Norwood and Hale from the state, also attending or meeting with BOCES Monroe and Monroe County School Boards Association with Congressman Morelli, focusing conversation around the federal impact on public schools and some opportunity for Q&A on some general topics there. Really enjoyed my invitation to School Number 9's book club, the MLK Martin Luther King Readers Book Club. That was amazing. And I think the highlight of the work that I do and that we all do, for me, I love seeing the students. Community Budget Forum at School Number 22, was able to attend and hear some of the remarks from community members. The Council for Great City Schools Board Chairs Representatives meeting was attended, as well as a brief meeting with the state delegation. I was able to attend the Monroe County School Boards Association's board leadership meeting, and the New York State Assembly's listening tour was an event that I attended to just get some perspective and understanding around what's going on. I do want to provide a status update briefly on the Council for Great City Schools. December 11th is our next work session or retreat, and the superintendent during that time will be bringing forward interim goals and guardrails to the Board of Education, and this is to help us as we move forward towards our measures and progress monitoring. The Board of Education, during this time, we will have the opportunity to gain clarity and either move forward with the information that's presented at that time. If we feel that there's maybe some misalignment or the need for clarity, we then have that opportunity to revisit our board guardrails to ensure they're delivered in a way that, and make sure that we do have the alignment and clarity. It is not our opportunity to change theirs. We would need to change ours to make sure that what we're looking for is clear. And then we can adopt or what have you. Also forthcoming, the Council for Great City Schools, they recently conducted interviews with some Board of Education members. The council is preparing to provide a synopsis of those collective interviews and then provide recommendations around the Board of Education's governance, how we govern ourselves, and also delegating to the superintendent. FYI, some upcoming travel will include the Big Five annual meeting in Albany, and that is December 2nd and 3rd, which is forthcoming. So I'm going to make my way back to this agenda. With that, I'm going to turn the mic over to the superintendent at this time.
Thank you very much. The presentation that will be provided this evening focuses on the 26-27 budget priorities. Next slide, please. The commitment of any organization, as we know, is reflected in its focus areas, which represents our strategic plan, and achieving its goals, and the financial resources we make as we invest in strategies to fulfill the goals that are outlined in our strategic plan. Of course, our strategic plan has 5 priorities: instructional excellence, preparing students for life, providing healthy, joyful, and inclusive school culture and climates, recruiting, growing, and retaining our staff, strengthening school, family, and community engagement, operational efficiency, and excellence. The 26-27 budget process will be acutely aligned to the district strategic plan priorities. Next slide, please. What we decided to do as a way to garner information to help inform our priorities for this upcoming budget cycle is to provide an opportunity for members in our community, be it from schools, home, or the community at large, to provide us with feedback on what they felt should be our district priorities for our budget next year. What we did to engage our community is a number of different things. We asked our students and our staff to respond to a survey that we provided via online. We sent out family robocalls alerting families of the opportunity to be able to inform our budget priorities. The communication team, as they always do, did a phenomenal job with developing social media pieces that went out periodically and very strategically to provide individuals with access to this survey. And we also created palm cards that provided QR codes that provided access to this community feedback survey. Understanding that some of our families do have the ability and community members to engage with us publicly, we also went out and held 2 community budget forum conversations. As we heard through the BEC's report, we also provided an opportunity for our BEC council to provide feedback on our budget. We met with the Children's Agenda VIP Committee, provided them with an opportunity to share with us and also participate in the survey. Our Student Leadership Congress was engaged to also provide feedback and also to encourage other students in their schools to participate in this process. And we also engaged the Rock the Future Pecan group, which is a parent group, in this process as well. Understanding that many of our families and community listen to WDKX. I also made appearances on WDKX, alerting and announcing this opportunity. And we're very appreciative of the Langston family for providing us with that space to be able to get critical information out to our community. Next slide, please. So of all this engagement, we yielded 536 responses. Nearly half of the responses came from our staff. Their voice, of course, matters because they see our students each and every day, and that they can provide greater opportunities to really speak to what the needs are in each of our schools. Parents and caregivers made about a quarter of the responses. Their feedback helps us understand how our decisions affect families at home and what our parents and caregivers truly believe should be focus areas in which we should be making investments in our upcoming budget. Student community partners and others rounded out the group and gave us a wider lens on how this system is experienced beyond the classroom. Next slide, please. So when we look at the community feedback survey results, we asked individuals to choose the single area they believe matters most. And of course, given the fact that we are an organization where our core business is teaching and learning, teaching and learning rose to the top. School climate came next. Families articulated that they and staff want safe, calm, and predictable schools. Teachers and staff was the third highest priority, which reinforces what many of you have shared directly with me, that we need to make greater investments in those who are championing the success of all children. Family and community engagement and operations and services followed. They matter, of course, as they shape how students experience school each and every day. This distribution tells us that the community wants us focused on instruction, safety, and the people who engage in this very important work on a day-to-day basis. What we wanted to do was to provide a little bit more detail to the feedback and share with everyone the ranked priorities as each of the groups who participated in the survey ranked these priorities. This section reflects a clear message. People want us to strengthen literacy early. The number one priority is making sure every student is reading by grade 3. Improving reading in grades 3 through 8 is the next step the community wants us to take. Families and staff want more ninth graders earning credits on time so they stay on track for graduation. There's also a strong call for improvement in math performance in the upper elementary and middle school grades. These priorities match what we have been lifting up this year and what we will continue to lift up. Our community is aligned with our academic focus. Under school climate, the top priority here is also simple. People want students and families to feel safe and welcome at our schools. Attendance surfaced as a major concern. Chronic absenteeism is holding too many of our scholars back, is what the data presented to us. Respondents want us to use restorative practices in ways that solve problems fairly and rebuild relationships. At the same time, they want suspensions reduced so students can remain in class. The message is clear. Our community wants a climate that is safe, predictable, and supportive. Under teachers and staff, the number one priority is keeping good staff by supporting wellness and morale. We all know that a stable workforce really supports high-level academic achievement for students. Strong, relevant training is a close second. Staff want support that meets real needs. Families and staff want us to hire and retain more diverse teachers. And they want culturally responsive teaching to be central to how we educate our students. This feedback aligns with what educators have been telling us directly as well. The next slide. The community wants us to expand community school models so schools can offer stronger wraparound services and partnerships. Increasing family sense of belonging is the next priority. People want to feel welcome, respected, and included. Respondents want the parent portal to be easier to use and want more families to actually access it. And they want parents represented on school planning teams so that they can help shape the direction of their child's school. These priorities show a strong desire for the partnership and transparency. Our next slide, operations and services. The ranked priorities is that our community wants us to be very careful in how we spend our financial resources. They want us to maintain a balanced budget, improve facilities and transportation, which is fixing buses, improving our buses and the times in which they arrive, safer travel to and from school, and then lastly, investing in safe, modern schools and resources for learning. So overall, the feedback was clear. Across staff, families, students, and partners, 5 major themes rose to the top: strengthening early literacy, improving school climate and attendance, supporting our staff, deepening family engagement, and improving core services like transportation and facilities. From this survey, as well as the multitude of conversations and meetings I've held since I've been here in Rochester, the following 5 priorities will be leading our budget development for this upcoming school year. Number 1, investing in high-quality instruction and supports with a focus on early learning and grade-level interventions, inclusive of increased investments in literacy, greater grade level and developmental supports for our students, and expanding multilingual instruction and supports, moving beyond what we solely or what we provide to our Spanish-speaking populations and making sure that all students who represent multilingual backgrounds are supported. So as we continue to develop our students to be competitors in a global economy, that our students, particularly our multilingual students, have an added advantage, given the fact that they can speak more than one language. Next, investing in our students. Of course, we are going to continue to prepare our students for post-secondary success. Ms. Blocker did a wonderful job at our last meeting with presenting our college career and military readiness framework, and we're going to be making additional investments next year in being able to do just that, preparing our students for either college, career, or the military, whatever their choice might be. Supporting students' social emotional well-being, which is something that continues to be a challenge for school districts across the country. Number 3, investing in and creating strong community schools where we're looking to strengthen parent and caregiver relationships, providing our parents with greater opportunities for parent empowerment, as well as educational growth, building upon our community partnerships, expanding extracurricular opportunities, expanding supplemental instructional opportunities, either before, after school, on Saturdays, or even during the summertime. And of course, continuing the good work that the Rochester City School District has begun, which is transforming its middle schools. Investing in staff serves as the budget priority number 4, improving our relationships with staff members, supporting their well-being, providing added and meaningful professional learning, and making sure that all of our employees, all of the employee groups, receive an equitable and fair compensation. We have 3 contracts that are up this year, and we have already reached out to the collective bargaining units requesting that they come to the table and begin the negotiation process. Our goal is to make sure that we're not waiting until the last minute to negotiate equitable and fair compensation for all of our employees, but making sure that we are providing ourselves with enough time to be able to discuss, get through some of the complexities of our collective bargaining agreement, and be able to have enough time on the table for us to then present something that is well thought out, that provides an equitable and fair compensation to all employees. The next one is investing in operational effectiveness. Of course, what we've been hearing as of late, and this has been ongoing in Rochester, but improving transportation operations is something that we most certainly need to do. As articulated by Commissioner Elliott when we were rolling out our Strive for Five initiative, one of the things that she had articulated was that we must certainly address our transportation issues in order to better guarantee that our students are in school receiving a high-quality educational program each and every day. So we've already started having conversations about how might we be able to improve our transportation operations. We have shared in public forums that all of our transportation contracts will be up this year, which will give us greater leverage to then negotiate contracts with transportation entities that speak to them upholding their obligation with picking our students up on time and dropping them off on time. Transforming instructional environments into 21st century learning spaces. I want to thank, of course, our state local delegation for their advocacy with securing additional funding for us to be able to do this. Of course, we still have an obligation outside of the FMP program to maintain and to transform our instructional environments into 21st century learning spaces. And under the leadership of Chief Scott, he and I have begun speaking about ways in which we can enhance this work for this upcoming year. And then lastly, strengthening the district's safety and security posture, which is unfortunately a reality that all school districts across our country are faced with. It's important that we continue to invest and make sure that not only our children are safe in school, but the staff and the faculty who attend and who work in our schools also are in safe environments. So the next steps, there's a lot of work for us to do. This upcoming Monday, based upon these priorities, the Cabinet will align all strategies to these priorities. We'll begin the work this upcoming Monday. The Budget Office will prepare cost scenarios. Every school and department will build a budget aligned with these priorities. And one of the requirements of schools will be to engage their school-based decision-making teams in this process. We want to make sure that each and every school, parents, staff, children have an opportunity to lend insight as to what each school budget needs to represent. By doing this, this ensures coherence across the system, a clear line of sight for our budget to student outcomes, and prevents departments from working in silos. In the coming weeks, these priorities will move into full budget development. As I mentioned, every school and department will build its budget in alignment with them so that when it comes to my responsibility as well as the CFO's responsibility in presenting a balanced budget to the board and to our community, that there's greater alignment, aligned with our strategic plan, our strategic priorities, and that the strategies that we use to meet the goals outlined in our strategic plan are fully resourced. At this juncture, this concludes my presentation. And Board President, I will entertain questions from our commissioners.
Thank you, Superintendent Rosser. I see two hands. The first hand I believe I saw was, Commissioner Santiago.
Yeah, I just want to say that these are some pretty good priorities to focus on. I also was really glad to see under the school climate priorities from the community. I was glad to see a lot of support around restorative practices in our school, a lot of support around alternatives to suspensions and actually finding the solution to the issues that we face. And I also support that in your priorities, one of your priorities is supporting social well-being, which will strengthen our students in the district. I'm definitely interested to seeing, as you guys are talking about those services, restorative, emotional well-being. I'm definitely interested in seeing how that will be shown in the budget. And also when it comes to safety and security, ways that we can bring those restorative values into our safety and security for prevention instead of reaction some of the times. So,
Yeah, one of the
thank you.
things we're looking to do, particularly for next year's budget, if we can't do it in this year's budget, we need to see whether or not there's financial resources for us to do, but to really contract out with the entity to be able to come in, a professional entity, to come in and to share with us what our security posture looks like in each of our buildings, providing us with recommendations by which we will then follow to then strengthen our security posture. If there are gaps in how secure and safe our schools are.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. Were there any other questions at this time or statements? Commissioner Griffin?
Good evening. First, I want to say that I appreciate the fact that we are looking at the building-based budget. That was something that I recommended, I think maybe 2 years ago when I first came in, to better monitor the finances that were given out to the schools and to know how they were being spent. Because the principal would know exactly what is needed in those institutions, so I appreciate that. I want to know, as far as the surveys are concerned, I see that numbers, what I would be considered, I consider is low considering, but it's good that we are getting some feedback. And I've said this before, is we got to meet people where they're at. So I'm just concerned that maybe we're not doing as much as we could do to meet people where they're at. When I say that, I'm meaning like going to the rec centers, into the churches. I think that would be big. People dropping them off and even having a day in school where kids can do a survey in a class and just, and you get that information in a classroom setting. I think they have a voice and a vision as well. And I think that would be the way to increase those numbers for the surveys, is going in the class, having done in the classroom. I know some people I used to have a study hall. I don't know what they call it now, but they can do it in a study hall period, or, in the morning when they had that little break, they can take out that survey, do it real quick, and hand it in to the teacher. Sometimes people don't want to click, 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 so who knows? Everybody's different, but we are in a new age, but we still have people that are old-fashioned with that. So I would like to see the numbers increase as far as these surveys are concerned. And I also, there's one other thing I think I wanted to address, and when you saying the diversity, with the workplace, as far as increasing the diversity in the workplace, I'm gonna reflect back on Dr. Aquino's report, and that was from 2018. So I would like to see where we're at, because I don't think we've made any great changes in that area at all. And I want to know what the numbers are as far as administrative and with teachers as a whole, because I don't see the diversity yet in the district as it once was before, and that's across the board. With all nationalities, I think there should be a balance, and I don't see that. So I would like to know if we could get those numbers and see how we've increased, or what differences have been made, or how we can address that concern that is really huge in an urban district. I don't know if you touched on this, I may have missed it. Did you speak at all in reference to our athletics, the athletics department, and how we're addressing our athletics across the board in the district? Because I think we've fallen low on our athletics. Some schools have them, other schools don't have what we need across the board. So I don't think we touched on that at all, which is very important. and the CTEs.
Yeah, we did. We, under priority number 3, expanding extracurricular opportunities for students.
Okay,
That would
so,
be athletics, and that would be after-school programs, clubs, and things of that nature.
okay.
And making
It just
sure that
wasn't
things are
spelled out.
equitable. Right,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, all right, and I definitely would wanna, definitely wanna pulse on that, because we shouldn't be struggling with that area. We shouldn't be struggling with cheerleaders, going from one school to the other to to be a cheerleader. A cheerleader needs to be cheering for their own school. So I think that those are things that are crucial areas that we need to address, because that's a conflict for me. I know I wouldn't want to be at a school and playing, I'm at school 58, but playing over at Wilson. I think that that's a big issue for me. So that's something that I think we should basically address as well. And I think that would be it.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin.
You're
Commissioner
welcome.
Santiago?
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of swing back around definitely to priority number 2 for superintendent budget priorities. Under investing for students, there's only 2 points there. And I just want to kind of just say this because it also shows priority in some way. When you look at some of the other ranked priorities, there's like 3 bullets, 4 bullets, 5 bullets, but for the students, we only see 2 bullets, which is the priorities for investment in them. I just want to just make sure that we're staying on top of prioritizing our students, and that includes the athletics that Commissioner Griffin was just speaking about, and possibly other things. I think it's what we shows our priorities. I think that we have to do more with investing directly to the students. Although all of our priorities are to benefit the students,
That's what I was gonna get at.
what are investments that we can make directly to the students also? Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that comment, because one of the things that we struggled with, because of course, all of the priorities really speak to investing in our students. And what we did not want to do was to be duplicative in the bullets. So when you look at priority number 1, that really speaks to the students. The 2 bullet points down below under investing in our students really speak to us making sure that when it comes to the college career and military readiness framework, that we're making investments to make sure that we are aligning our strategies to the Portrait of a Graduate, which was released by the state. And then second, of course, the social emotional piece, that's very broad, because that can mean many things, from restorative practices to mental health to health clinics in schools. And then the next bullet, or the next priority, the community schools. Community schools, by virtue of how they're structured, really are student-centered. So to your point, a number of student-centered things are captured in other priorities.
Yeah, and last thing, I think definitely with the ones under investing in our students, might also be very beneficial, and not might, it will be very beneficial to listen to students and hear what they need and what they want, definitely for supporting students' social and emotional well-being. The best answer you're going to get for that question is from the students. And so it might be beneficial to listen to the students while you're drafting the budget for those.
We have a
priorities.
January survey that's going to go out. And that January survey, we're hoping that all students, particularly middle and high school students who have access to it, will respond and then provide us with greater detail as to what their needs are. And we also have the YRBS that we will be administering this year as well, which we're hopeful will also provide us with meaningful information as to what we need to do to support our children.
Thank you. Sounds like you're on top of it. Appreciate you.
Definitely, very strong list of priorities. Excited to see this strong roadmap toward progress. So with no further discussion on this matter, we'll move forward to the consent agenda items. Entertaining a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're moving to the human capital resolutions at this time, being resolutions 267 through 279. Excuse me, I do have a cough drop. So entertaining a motion to approve resolutions 267 through 279. Motion by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Vice President Malloy. I apologize. Did I miss the discussion on this? I did not open. Was there any discussion?
Not yet,
It's
but
going too smooth. Okay. With no discussion, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are here with the Board of Education Legal and Audit Resolutions. Entertaining a motion for Resolutions 265 and 266.
So moved?
Moved by Vice President Malloy. Seconded by Commissioner Patterson. Any discussion on those items? With no discussion,
We've got a hand.
oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Santiago?
I just lost the website, but for policy 350, there is recommended change in the beginning.
Commissioner Santiago, which
Yes.
policy?
Policy, sorry, 4350.
4350, okay.
There is recommendations, and I lost board docs. There is recommendations for change in some of the language by the prior administration. While reading it, I don't see the reasoning why we would remove that language specifically. And the prior administration is not here today to, give the reasoning why. And so I don't think that, and I personally won't be in support of changing that language at the moment.
Do we know where this change recommendation?
It's on the screen up there.
No, I have it up, but I'm just, do we know
I'm
what-
pulling board docs back up, but it's policy
for one, point number one,
4350.
right? But I'm asking Clerk Nguyen, I'm sorry, Commissioner Santiago. Clerk Nguyen, do you know the origin of this change or why the language, or, the foundation of why the language is being removed or anything?
I do not have any notes related to the specific change or what was the conversation around it. I might volley to General Counsel. He's involved in this on the administration side, so he may have some
This
information.
is why we need the
Thank you
committee.
so much.
I was.
Are you able to share any perspective on that? This is policy 4350, and this is point number one under charge to the superintendent, some language change suggestion.
Yes, thank you, President Simmons. I don't have any kind of specific notes at my fingertip either. Just looking at the change, it seems pretty semantic to me. I'm not seeing where we really, it just kind of shortens that paragraph, that bullet, but I don't necessarily think it makes that big of a change, but I don't have any notes at my fingertips, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for that clarity. With that, if we could maybe pause on this particular policy, if commissioners, it sounds like, may have the appetite to just better understand the changes being recommended, so before we move forward with it. Is that a policy? What would I need to do for 4350 as far as taking a moment to get an understanding so that we're all comfortable?
Before I respond to that
Yes.
question, just clarity. In terms of pulling it back, you're looking to get confirmation from current administration that they're okay with this change? If they had an issue with it, or are you just looking for the history of the change? I just want to be clear which.
All of the above. Hold on, Clerk Nguyen. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, for me personally, the reason why I brought it up is I don't see why would we even change that language. I think it's spelled out in a good way, and I think that if anything, it should just stay there. But that's just that was the reasoning behind me bringing up what I brought up. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Malloy?
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I wonder the history for this and why. I don't see anything wrong with the original format. If anything, I feel like shortening it in this manner actually makes it really, it's just a bizarre wording as well. What does that even mean? Schools will offer diversity with multiple cultures. Like it's the meaning from what is written there prior, it completely changes the meaning of that. And so are we talking about curriculum? Are we, like, what are they even referring to? So I would like to look at this in more detail.
So with that, Clerk, when it sounds as if it would be all-inclusive, can you repeat the reasons? So it sounds like history, just understanding the purpose or foundation for why this was changed, and then the thought process behind what we're looking to get at with this potential change. And so with that, I would like to walk it back just to make sure folks are comfortable with it.
Yeah, so you just need to vote no on the resolution to move it
All right.
forward. I would, though, note that it is tied to 4,400, and
That's
so
what I-
perhaps you would split into A and B,
Yep.
and then you all be taking votes on it separately.
Okay.
Excuse me.
That's where it gets a little minutia. Does anyone have any concern with resolutions 4,400 at all?
I was trying to speak, but you.
Commissioner Griffin?
I just want to make sure we are careful with this policy because it's tied to a school law as well. And it has, and NICE, it has a lot, says a lot about the multicultural because it ties in with the multilingual language and multicultural policies. So to Commissioner Santiago's point, I wrote it down and then I missed, I'm glad you brought it up. We need to really look at this further. And also, I'm just curious, with no committee oversight over policies, this is the type of things that can be missed and should have been brought up to us. So it's important that things like this, that we address these things beforehand and vet them before they come out here, and then we have to go through it in this manner. That's what the committees were for. So, right now, the administration is handling it, and this is why we're here, sitting here discussing it now. So I think that it's important that we try to figure out how we can best address policies and have more oversight over these, because this is the foundation of our school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner Malloy, did you have a comment? Okay. So with that, so I do want to, it sounds like there's no concern with 4,400. And 4,350 would be the concern. So you said we need to separate those out to A and then B?
I would make that recommendation to separate them on two different
To
resolutions.
separate out the lines?
To move or to approve 4,400.
Okay, so yes, at this time, what I'd like to attempt to do is entertain a motion for Resolution 265A and make that, and that would be focusing on Resolution 4,400, for policy 4,400.
So what I would recommend, and General Counsel, please let me know if I'm incorrect, is a motion to split Resolution 265 into A for Policy 4350, and then 265B for Policy 4400. And you would take those separately and vote on them.
Okay, so both would be 265A and B. Okay, gotcha. Sorry about that. Thank you. So that's what I'm looking to do, General Counsel. Is that okay? Okay. So motion to split Resolution 265 to A and B, A being 4350 and B being 4400.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. So with that, motion or entertaining a motion for Resolution 265A.
So moved?
Vice President Malloy,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Santiago. All in favor?
Nay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Yep. Okay, so 4350 has been voted down.
So, excuse me, President Simmons, just to be clear, no one is voting in favor, correct?
Is
I
anyone
didn't hear
voting in
anyone
favor
say
of
yes.
Resolution 4350 at this time?
So everyone's voting nay, okay. I just want to be clear.
Hold on.
And as you look at that one, Commissioner Patterson, that was the resolution that was just under discussion. Some changes occurred, and we just want to get a better understanding of the suggested changes, so we're going to hold on that one. Okay, so that's unanimous on 4350. All are noes. On that one, entertaining a motion for Resolution 265B regarding Resolution Policy 4400. Motion by Commissioner Santiago,
Second.
seconded by Vice President Malloy. All in favor, 4400?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we've kind of split that up. So we're going to take a look at entertaining a motion for Resolution 266 at this time. That is inclusive of policies 4360 and 4513. Motion by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Vice President Malloy. This is open for discussion. With none, all in favor of Resolution 266?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion to amend Resolution 881 at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. All in favor of amending Resolution 881?
Conversation.
I'm sorry, open for conversation for 881, excuse me.
He has his hand up.
Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, just want a little bit of background on this, because we're going all the way back to 2022. I think I joined the board 23, so this is before my time.
Oh, no. So just so you know, the resolution is set with the whereas, where it just tracks what happened year after year. So what it's asking right now is to change item number 5, which previously said that SLC students would recommend 4 students from SLC specifically, and they're asking, just because of their own schedules and ability to engage with multiple things, that it be opened up so they can invite or recommend any 4 students across the district,
Okay.
opening up more opportunities. That's the change.
I support whatever they have to say, so it's an aye for me.
Okay. With no further discussion, all in favor of Resolution 881?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're on item 10 here on the agenda. This is resolutions or corrected resolutions that were added after the work session. And this motion would be to approve Resolutions 254A, 263, and 280. Entertaining a motion.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Vice President Malloy.
Second.
Commissioner Patterson. This is open for discussion at this time, Resolutions 254A, 263, and 280. Commissioner Griffin?
Yes, I have a question. This is coming out of Garden, Massachusetts. Why, were there no local companies here that could assist us with this? Can somebody? You're talking about
Resolution?
the resolution?
Yeah, the Bay side, the Bay State employee.
Yeah, there was no local companies that could help?
For our viewing or listening public, we're talking about Resolution 254A.
So
Were there any local companies that we could have invested in instead of going to Massachusetts, is the question.
So, Deputy Wright, if you want to respond, but before you respond, one of the things I want to sort of highlight when it comes to RFP practices is that it's not always looking at who locally can provide the service, but looking at a number of different variables, including who is the most qualified to provide the services, the costs associated with the services. There's not a singular variable in which we look at when it comes to utilizing taxpayer dollars,
Right.
but I just wanted to sort of articulate that, but if you can respond to the question.
And before you respond, I just want to comment to what you said. That is absolutely true. So did you look at any companies here and compare them? Or did you just select this one? So if we went back at the RFP, was there three choices on that list? Or was it just this one? Dr. Wright, you can comment, please.
Dr. Wright, you can comment.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Superintendent. To answer your question, Commissioner Griffin, the answer is no. There was no local agency that had the bandwidth to handle the services that we require for our organization.
Okay, so you did look outside, you look inside and then look out.
We issued an RFP, and local and national companies were able to respond. So yes, we looked inside
Okay.
also.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion on the resolutions 254A, 63, or 80? Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, just wondering if I can get a further. First of all, I want to say I agree with Commissioner Griffin about really putting priority on local businesses when it comes to things like this. If it wasn't available, then it wasn't available. There's nothing you could do about that, but it is important that we do that. For Resolution 263 about Nazareth University, if I could just get a deeper explanation from one of you guys about that.
So, and I don't see Mr. Miller So this is an agreement that speaks to the Rock Urban Teacher Fellowship Partnership and Innovation Urban Teaching Program, and it's there to accelerate pathways for our staff members becoming full-time teachers.
And this program will be available to all staff in RCS?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to say before we close out this particular matter that we, as a board, can certainly prioritize our vision or desire to see local, to your point, Commissioner Santiago, spaces lifted and recognizing that the operational oversight belongs to the administration to facilitate that process. But we can certainly, to the points being made, express that we want to see local whenever possible, of course. So thank you for the information. With no further discussion, all in favor of resolutions 254A through 280?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We're going to move down to unfinished business at this time. And Dr. Ross, I'm going to turn the mic back over to you.
Okay, so as we have done for the last several months is to provide an update on our implementation of Oracle. I have Mr. McDowell, who's going to lead us in conversation as to where we're at now, providing an update on how we are addressing some of the outstanding issues that we've been working on, what we have resolved to date, enhanced payroll protocols, and the next steps for the payroll team and the work that Mr. McDowell and myself are working on in the identification of an alternate payroll system if we choose to go in that direction. Mr. McDowell?
And thank you, Superintendent Rosser. So last month, we gave a presentation of where we stood and the progress that we had made in regards to Oracle and some of the concerns and issues we had. So we felt best to start with where are we now, give you an idea of what we have done and where we're moving towards so that we can do our best to rectify some of these issues that we have with Oracle. So again, all of this started July 1st, but there was 4 years of history before that. Implementation, Oracle, Cherry Road, Attain Partners, and then Nova Modus joined on July 1st. Then we extended Nova Modus to June of next year because we needed some specialized support and help with payroll. And that was 2 additional staff. One was payroll, one was time labor. And then about 3 weeks ago, Oracle met with the superintendent and myself and deputy, and we really had a great conversation about what was needed because we weren't performing to the level that we needed nor expected. So at that time, they went back to the drawing board and then spoke to Nova Modus, and you can see that starting December 1st, Nova Modus is going to add a couple additional staff to help us with payroll and with time and labor, and we expect that that will definitely help with our results. Oracle also has extended their contract to December 31st without any additional fees. And a lot of that specifically is due to our run book and our validation reports not being up to par for us as a district to be able to take them on and do them singularly. We also are in the middle of realigning our staff, and you'll see a slide that will show what we plan to do, what we have done, and where we expect to go. Now we'll start to get into our operational statistics. And again, I want to take you back to October 21st, which is the last illustration that we showed, or one of the last illustrations we showed. And here you can see approximately 30 days ago, our number of tickets. And again, you'll hear many numbers and many different variations, but we feel, and I feel specifically, that the number of tickets that we have identify exactly what our issues are and who has been impacted. A month ago, this number was 1,797. Today, this number is 897. So it shows over 900 tickets have been resolved, but also you've had a couple payrolls since that period of time. So 900 is of the overall list, but in total, we've settled about 2,200 tickets in the last month or so. And most of them are specific to, hey, I didn't get paid, or, I'm missing some time allotment whatsoever. So again, we're doing everything we can to identify individuals' specific issues so that we can take care of them. And more important, if you look back to the previous slide, you can see, if I can go backwards, you can see that you had over 580 people who said they didn't get paid. And today, that number is now down to 195. And this slide also has a couple extra pay periods involved with it. So even at 195, the number truly is 178 of the 582. So almost a 400 tickets just in payroll alone, where people specified they didn't get paid, were taken care of here. Is this perfect? No, we still have almost 900 tickets we need to get taken care of, but are we moving in a much better direction? Absolutely. And this illustration here, I love to show this because the green is specific to what the district and what Nova Modus and Oracle, the team, what we're doing, our responsive rate, and the red shows when we actually incur an issue. So if you notice now, whenever we have an uptick in red, you notice correspondingly the next day we're able to react to it, which is a much better outcome and situation compared to what we were before. A couple months ago, it would take us a week, 2 weeks to be able to actually react to certain things, and that time is people's money. So, this big spike here was for double deductions, and within 1 day, we were able to resolve over 2,200 of them. And this is indicative of what I expect us to have, but what I don't expect us to have, those big spikes, and that's what we're really getting after to make sure we can control. As we start to look at our enhanced protocols, when you go back to October 19th, our payroll team consisted of 10 people, the supervisor, an administrative analyst, 2 clerks, 2 principal and senior clerks, 3 payroll clerks, and then office staff. As of October 20th, we hired 2 additional clerks. We are in the midst of interviewing for Director of Financial Management, which will be the person who will handle all of our ERS and TRS and tax reporting and all of that, because right now the supervisor's handling that, and he's getting bogged down, which doesn't allow us to progressively address many of the other issues that we have, because everything's stuck in one place. So we need to differentiate and get him some more help. Also, we're looking to hire a temporary assistant payroll supervisor, again, to delineate more of this work so that we don't get stuck when people are on vacation or out, or just for any reasons. When we're inundated with a lot of work, we have the bandwidth to be able to handle it and take care of these necessary things. Since we hired 2 payroll clerks from the temporary staff that we had, we want to replace them also to make sure that we are just able to quickly adjust to any issues that we have. So my expectation is by the end of this calendar year that we'll have 16 total staff in payroll to address any issues we have with payroll and address any issues that may occur during the 2 weeks time cycle that we have for payroll when we're preparing it. Process improvements. We're triaging payroll now. We actually have one person who actually gets the payroll issues, and then they actually dole those out to individuals within the payroll team. This has helped. It sincerely has. We're now giving people specific tasks to make sure that they are taken care of. And a week and a half ago, our movement was much more accelerated. But what happens is when we have a payroll week, everything just stops, because we have to make sure as we run the payroll that We specifically address any issues that come up, and they're still coming up. And one of my biggest concerns, and I'll say this to everyone who's listening, is I don't know if this is sustainable. The level of work and time. We have 20 people working nights, weekends to get this done. And when it's all said and done, I love the outcomes. I wonder about the long-term sustainability.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why we have been continuing our conversations with other payroll entities, because we want to make sure that all of our staff members, are paid on time, and that those who are responsible for payroll, that we're not burning them out. So we are still exploring, which we will talk about a little bit more in detail, other options to what we're currently experiencing with the Oracle product.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. All right, so next steps, to continue to stabilize our operations. One thing I do know is payroll, when it functions correctly, should be a pretty fine-tooth engine. It should just steam along, and right now we're not in that place. So, and the tickets tell you the story, and it tell you the story of who's not getting paid. So we need to maintain our focus on getting payroll to be accurate, to process it seamlessly, to get it done timely, and get after this backlog. I will say this to everyone. The issues that we have now are more sophisticated, and they're going to take us longer to get into, because they're not just, hey, double deduction type things. They're more of, I didn't get paid for a certain thing, and it's impacted me in 2 different levels, so it takes more time. So our goal is, as the superintendent said, to expand our bandwidth so that we can dig deeper into more of these sophisticated issues and take care of them. And our goal is we will take care of them. Commissioner Malloy?
Wait, I'm sorry, were we done with the report?
No, I saw Commissioner Malloy saying.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Malloy?
I'll let him finish before.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. All right. So we're going to continue to strengthen our internal capacity, training for everyone, getting more skilled people here. Roles must be defined, responsibilities and tasks must be ironed out, so people know exactly what we expect of them, so we can make sure we deliver upon what we should. Nova Modus, them bringing 2 extra people here to train and to help, it's been a very good, not just an idea, but resource, and they're going to be here for the next 7-8 months. My goal is, after the 7-8 months, that we don't need them, which means our staff need to be able to take care of and move forward with the work that they have been used to be doing by themselves. I will give Oracle some credit, not a ton, but some. They have engaged and they have really sincerely pushed on their team to help us and make sure that we can be standalone by the time we get to the new year. And that work has resulted in us moving forward and not having as many issues, and also resolving issues quicker. And as we get to the last slide, we start to talk about just having more accountability and having a much more enhanced structure. Our processes, we need to find defects and get after those and communicate those, and make sure when we do have defects or issues that we can resolve them immediately. We want to be self-sufficient. We've issued over 4,100 off-cycle payments, resulting in almost $1.5 million of payments to people that weren't part of the initial payroll, but they are outside the system. That so we're doing everything we can to make sure we pay as many people as often and as quickly as possible. We're going to look at short and long-term processes and see if the system is performing the way we would prefer it to be. And then, as the superintendent said, him and I and Deputy Wright, we're meeting with other providers to see what they can do for us if we get to a point where this still is not sustainable and does not work for us in the way it should. So.
And what we're anticipating from these providers is that hopefully by our December, I believe 10th, our December 9th board meeting, workshop meeting, that we'll be able to provide additional updates in terms of a timeline as well as potential cost. One of the things that we need to be mindful of is how we would procure these services if we do move into this changing out our payroll system. And Mr. McDowell and I, are working to understand the various pathways by which we can secure a viable long-term solution if the board so chooses to move from Oracle. Questions?
Thank you. Vice President Malloy?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. The questions I have, it's more for the question log, because I realize that they wouldn't be able to be answered publicly, but I just wanted to put them on record. It's more historical. It's more of a historical piece which is long before your arrival here or our CFO's arrival. So I would like to know if the board could be provided with the initial implementation schedule with our second-day providers that we had that were listed as the initial providers for implementation. I'm wondering if we could be provided with that initial implementation schedule that outlines the work schedule or plan, as well as perhaps a summary of the work that was completed by those initial providers. And then I guess my second question would be, are we still contracting with all of these initial implementation partners or just with Novo Modus?
Yeah, so I can answer actually. Let me start with the latter. So currently under contract would be Oracle Consulting, Novo Modus. Cherry Road is operating under and providing support under no additional cost. And as Mr. McDowell indicated, our conversations with Oracle about a week and a half ago yielded Oracle providing an additional month of support at no additional cost to the Rochester City School District. To the first question, initial implementation schedule, I just want to be clear, as we all are aware, the board did request for a comprehensive audit or evaluation of the Oracle implementation, in which myself, Mr. McDowell, and others met earlier today to discuss next steps with getting an RFP written and out there. Are you looking for this information outside of that process or as a part
No,
of that
if that's
process?
part of the audit process, I would be fine with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice President Malloy. You asked a really good question at the top of the presentation. Is this long-term sustainable?
Yeah.
I'm no expert, but everything is telling me no. So I'm glad to see that you all are looking at other options, and I'm eager to hear what developments come of that. I do see additional hands. I saw Commissioner Santiago, and then I see Commissioner Griffin, and I'll go in that order.
Yeah. Do you know at the moment, out of your 16 staff, I believe you said in payroll?
10 currently, 16 by January 1st.
Okay, so currently out of the 10, how many are trained in Oracle? I know that we just brought our third party in for training, but at the moment, how many would you say is trained in Oracle?
I would say there are different levels of the training. I think some have really gotten after it and grasped it really quickly, and some of them have been more hesitant or / reluctant. Most important thing for us is, as a team, we have to get past if we like it or not, and we have to learn it, because no matter what happens, we're going to have to live with this minimally probably for the rest of this school year. So my goal is that 897 by our staff needs to get down to acceptable levels, which is usually somewhere in the 1%, 1.5% range. And right now we're not there, so we all have to roll up our sleeves and be trained and be willing to learn more about the system.
Do you guys have a date that you guys, or a time that you guys plan to have all of our staff and payroll trained on this new system?
Well, definitely, as Mr. McDowell has indicated, there's multiple levels of training because the complexity of this product is one in which, depending upon the user, will require differentiation and training. So we're hopeful that within the next coming months, that with the supports that we have with Oracle Consulting being on board, additional Nova Modus staff, that we can carve out time, additional time to provide training. The biggest challenge with training is that the ship has already left the port, and while people are working each and every day, because payroll, the process of the pay cycle never stops for our payroll individuals, is finding time within the structure of the day to then provide the professional learning. And we're looking at options right now of providing professional learning opportunities outside of the structure of the day. However, it's kind of challenging to do that, particularly as the team is laser focused on making sure that some of the backdated things that we still need to get to, that we get to it.
Yeah, and if there's a resolution presented as far as myself individually for extra time to train our payroll staff, I would definitely be in support. My second question is around retirement. So I know that there were a lot of issues with retirement. I believe that there was issues with mine, a couple of us and staff. Is there any update as far as the retirement system for staff and employees that haven't been paid and maybe possibly facing other challenges due to the retirement not being paid?
Yeah. So the ERS and the TRS situation.
Right, so for clarification, sir, are you talking about specific payments to the retirement system, or what, can you specifically give me what you're looking for?
Payments to the retirement system, of course, is one of them. I know that a lot of us received a letter saying that our retirement hasn't been paid. So I guess we can start there.
Okay, so I'll have to break this down into two different buckets. So for ERS, because I feel most of you are under ERS, the July and August files are already down to the state and they've been accepted, so no issues there. Our September and October files are being worked on diligently, and the issue is we are sending the files and they're being rejected by the state because they're just not fitting all of the categories, characteristics, and all of the things that they're looking for. So we're working diligently to do that. Ironically, I had a meeting with ERS and TRS today. So for ERS, none of our employees or anyone who works for the district will receive any more, hey, you are in default or we didn't get your loan payments or whatever. So if anyone does, I've instructed the union leaders to let me know immediately, and I'll call personally to the state to make sure that doesn't happen. In regards to ERS, we also have to make sure that we had an issue with the last payroll in October where loan payments weren't taken out of people's checks, and they should have been. Right now, and I think we're going to get a favorable outcome from this. We've asked ERS to give people grace and have that move to the last payment of their particular loan. So therefore, there's no late fees or any concerns whatsoever with that. So I think we're going to get a favorable outcome. I'm expecting to hear something probably next week in regards to that. So that's ERS for the most part. Because everyone outside of the October 30th or 31st payment, everyone's payments we have taken. So it's not as if ERS, the ERS knows that you have made the payments. If you've had loans or anything like that, or just making your payments to ERS for for retirement in general. So that's ERS. TRS is a little different. TRS, I guess I want to say, hasn't been as vocal about it in regards to not receiving their payments. And I think we're really close, I know we're really close to getting the July file down there, because I spoke to them today for about a half hour. They're not sending out any late notices to anyone at all. They understand our situation. Other districts have had similar issues, so they're not sending out any notices at all. They do know that individuals have paid. Their systems are slightly different, so they know people have paid their, TRS, either loans or contributions, so they know that already. So they're not sending any mail that would upset anyone. The biggest thing for TRS is we need to get the files down so that people's year-end statements are reflective of what they made last year. So if any of you are in TRS, the July file is actually it's a summary of what was done in June. So whatever you earned in June would be on your year-end statement. So most people who start to get their TRS statements may see that their salary isn't totally reflective of everything they earned last year. But as soon as we rectify this, and I think that's going to happen in the next week to 10 days or so, but don't quote me on that. I expect that's going to happen, and when it does, people will then be able to either go into the system or they'll see a subsequent letter from TR saying, hey, here is your updated letter stating what you actually did earn. One thing they did say to me today is that at the end of the day, there is no penalty or anything that people from who are in the TRS system should be worried about, because they know we have the funds. And they know that this is a system issue. This is not a, hey, we just don't want to do it type thing. So.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to finish off on the importance of ensuring that our whole payroll team is trained in the Oracle system. Right now, there's tens of thousands, almost hundreds of thousands of dollars going into the support, and that can't continue forever. And so there has to be an emphasis on training every one of our payroll staff on this new Oracle system to whatever level they need to be trained at. And so thank you.
I think Commissioner Griffin has a question.
Thank you. Commissioner Griffin?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McDowell, for all that you've been doing to address the issues with Oracle, you and the staff, putting in the time and away from your families. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of members in the community do as well, that have had issues, and you have reduced them tremendously. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the transparency, even in your presentation. It is very straightforward, but to the point. Very easy to the eyes to read and understand. So I appreciate that as well. I don't have anything to say outside of just thanking you, because where we were a month or so ago and where we're at now is a fire. It's a big difference. So I just wanted to thank you guys, all in the payroll department. I really appreciate the work that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll let them know that.
Thank you. Any other questions? With none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Time check, it is 7:35.
Thank you, Mr. McDowell.
And we're going to thank you, excuse me, and then we'll turn over to Dr. Rosser again for the next agenda item, being Northwest and Andrew Langston.
Thank you very much. So I had an opportunity to meet with commissioners individually in 322s this past week, and I just wanted to make sure that for the record, the memo that is a part of our board policy is a part of the board doc record with moving forward with engaging our community in conversations to get feedback from our community about the closure of the Northwest Middle School and merging it with Andrew Langston. There are a number of things that we will be engaging in within the next couple weeks. On December 8th, we're going to be holding and hosting a meeting with the Northwest Middle School community on December 8th. And then on December 9th, we will also be hosting a public hearing to be able to provide family, staff, and community members with an opportunity to offer comments to help inform our next steps. We will be requesting, I have requested of the board through this memo, that we do waive the 3-month requirement outlined in the policy, and that we do move forward for the board to strongly consider voting to close Northwest on December 18th. And the reason why I am requesting this waiver is to make it easier for parents in the school selection process to understand that if they're choosing Northwest, that Northwest, if the board votes on to close it on December 18th, will not be an option for their children moving into the upcoming school year. In addition to that, as we talked earlier today, we are kicking off the process of developing school-based budgets and having the opportunity to squarely focus our attention on the portfolio of schools we will have for this upcoming school year throughout this process will be critically important as well. So I wanted to just make sure that this memo was a part of our public record for our community to see, and more information will be provided in the coming weeks, particularly after the December 8th engagement with our school community, as well as the December 9th engagement, which will be before our committee meeting for a public hearing. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? With none, we'll move forward to our next agenda item, being our legislative agenda priorities. Just for the record, you can view it here on board docs as well. I believe Clerk Nguyen has handed all of us a physical copy just so we can look along. And as we, per our previous conversation, we have a medley of priorities listed here, and the objective is to get this down to actual priorities, being about 3 to 5 priorities. For the sake of that discussion this evening, we're looking to look at this list and try to identify as a collective board which priorities we believe we should keep, if we should add a priority, and which ones we should remove. I do want to reference a statement made by previously when this was presented around long-standing priorities that are listed here that really have not garnered much return, and that some of them are also dually lifted by the Big Five. We are part of the Big Five, who continues to champion for example, charter school moratorium. That might be one of the priorities that they will continue to champion, and being part of the Big Five by default, if you will, we would benefit from that. So does that need to stay on our list of priorities? Another one might be foundation aid. So those are a couple of examples. And at this time, I'd like to open the floor for discussion around the list of priorities here. And again, from the perspective of identifying 3 to 5 priorities from the Board of Education, which ones we will either keep, if there's something different or alternative you'd like to suggest, or remove. With that, I will take any suggestions at this time. Vice President Malloy?
Thank you. Obviously, I would keep all of them if we could. But I will say, just given the many difficulties that the district's facing with our transportation, would love for that to be one of those 3 to 5 priorities. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, I vote for the removal of charter schools. Again, I'm just repeating what I said last week or the week before, that I'm not for taking away a parent's choice or a student's choice on what school they want to attend. They're all our school, or all our children, and they have the right to make the choice on what educational institution they would like to attend. Thank you.
Commissioner Patterson, I do see a priority that I think is, and we can also change language within a priority, but lifting the priority of CTE, my thought process around that is I really would love to see that expanded to middle school, which I believe is already the discussion and part of a strategy here. So maybe advocating for dollars that will support that, that expansion of middle school exposure and opportunity with CTE, creating that pipeline into high school. So that's one that I do believe is strong, and I do also have an affinity for the facilities modernization program. But CTE, I'm definitely married to. Commissioner Santiago?
For me, I think the social emotional health and mental health services, of course, should stay. I think that the advocacy in 2026 is for funding to be maintained. I do not, and we should not expect any raises from the state, seeing that they might have around $16 billion cut in their budget. But I think it's important for us to advocate for the funding to maintain for our students' social, emotional health and mental health.
Commissioner Griffin?
I would like to see transportation. I agree with Vice President Malloy, and social emotional with Commissioner Santiago, and I would add CTE and the pre-kindergarten special education.
Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, if I can just add, with transportation, I remember, around last year, and also with our current issues of shortage of bus drivers and transportation being a repeat as far as our priorities has been a repeat for a long time, and nothing has even moved on the state level around that. I think transportation is important, but I think possibly the ask under the transportation agenda priority possibly be changed to tailor more towards our issue and fixing our issue that we currently have. Because even with the 1.5 mile rule, we still have a shortage in bus drivers, and that will add to the issue that we're having now. And so I think transportation should stay, but what we're asking for should be changed and more tailored to the issues of our district.
Yeah, definitely the dollars and the 1.5. Did you have a recommendation on how you might want to see that language tailored? Or let's identify the priorities, because we're doing great. So right now, if we were to kind of put a pin in this for just a moment, we do have at least 5 priorities. I'll read back what I found, starting with some suggested removals. The charter school moratorium, again, Commissioner Patterson lifted that as a removal, and again, noting that the Big Five will continue to support those efforts, so it doesn't necessarily go away totally. Hold on. Excuse me. If we were to keep transportation, to Commissioner Santiago's point, there's an opportunity to maybe massage the language to be more relevant to what we need here in Rochester as a priority. If we were to keep that, we can explore that. So that's 1. It sounds like there's an appetite for CTE. That's 2. Social emotional health received quite a few responses, so that's 3 right there. And if there's an appetite for the pre-K sped, and again, we could maybe massage what we're asking for there, that's 4 priorities right there. And potentially the F&P, that would put us at a total of 5 priorities. Commissioner LeBron.
I just want to point out, foundation aid funds all of these things technically in the district, or helps to fund, and so we're not pushing on foundation aid and the formula to be corrected, because that's what's been the push, that we're going to essentially cut ourselves short, and we're advocating in the wrong direction, because we need foundation aid and we need the right formula, and with the cuts, we need it now more than ever, so that it can fill in gaps in other areas that will face cuts. All these things are great things, which is why we've been putting them on the legislative, but if we're treating 26 as legislative priorities the way that we historically have in the past, then we're not doing our due diligence for what we're going to be facing in 26 under this federal administration and the impact to the state and cities, including ourselves. Thanks.
And I want to validate that the foundation aid is also supported through the Big Five as well. So that is another standing item that does not move, and being by the default part of the Big Five, the foundation aid would continue to be advocated for. But what I hear you saying, Commissioner LeBron, is you would suggest that we keep that and still curtail it or modify it for what we need here in Rochester specifically.
Correct, and
Okay.
to the cuts that are going to come down and impact all of these things. And you keep saying the Big Five, but we are part of the Big Five. So
Right.
if we don't have alignment, it doesn't make it onto the Big Five's like agenda. Like, we have to agree on and align these priorities.
Five.
And that happens with meetings with the Big Five, so we have to align ourselves first and then have alignment with them so that that can carry on. But if we don't agree to it, they don't go and carry it on. I mean, individual districts will, but technically as the Big Five, they wouldn't. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Do we have any other comments?
Right, yes, I had my hand up prior, but I wanted to agree with Commissioner LeBron in saying what she said about the foundation aid and the importance of that. So I also do agree with that. And I just wanted to put that on the record as well.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's very strong. So we could look at this with the foundation aid, because I did look at this as potentially the foundation aid falling under Big Five, and I was looking at that as an umbrella sweep, but that clarity is helpful. So obviously, the foundation aid is needed. That was never a negotiable, but the way I thought of it was not proper. So with the foundation aid being a priority, where would you all stand? It does sound like we've identified at least 5 priorities at this time. So I'm hearing and again, we have the option, I want to say, to add. So we don't, just because we've had these, again, in alignment with the conversation happening, we do recognize there's some adjustments happening at the federal level. That foundation aid, that formula is probably going to more than likely change. And so are there items that we would rather see versus the ones that we currently see that might be more helpful for what we are anticipating? And this is just, and we need to have this decision by January 13th. So we do have a tiny bit of time, but really not a lot. We want to have this kind of pinned on, but this at least would give administration an opportunity to identify what direction our board is looking at, or at least have an idea of what we're holding near and dear to inform how they continue to form the priorities before bringing forth recommendations. Was there any other thoughts or comments on this?
President Simmons?
Yes.
If I could just offer a point of clarity in terms of the deadline. The deadline is January 13th. However, you all only have 2 board meetings a month. So this is the end of November, so you only have 2 more sessions to align and collaborate on the agenda with the administration. So what will happen next is they would take this conversation onto their side, and then they would make some recommendations based on what the current needs are of the district in these areas and bring that back to you. So January 13th sounds far away, but it's really only 2 sessions that you all have to make this
We really don't have a
decision.
lot of time, because that's the final deadline of
You will vote
getting
on
them
it that day,
in,
yes.
But we have a little bit of time to do it. And so those 2 sessions we're talking about is the upcoming work session and then the board business meeting, which is on December 18th, correct?
Correct.
So right now, from what I hear again, how we can do this to kind of move this along is foundation aid. Who's amenable to obviously keeping foundation aid and exploring what that looks like? Sounds like that's an appetite. That's one. How do you all feel about CTE? Yeah? The social emotional health and mental health? So that's 3 priorities right there. Are there any things that we see differently, that we're like, we're missing a big point here, we need to have food, we need to do this, what are we looking at? Commissioner Santiago?
This is a little bit more controversial, but I think may be beneficial to the district. When it comes to the charter schools, possibly giving them the full amount, and with that, them taking the responsibility of transportation and their food service, it does put a big strain on us as a district to take care of those services for the charter schools. So it might be more helpful for them to get their full amount and take on those responsibilities for each student instead of the district taking on that strain. Now, that's for deeper conversation. Everybody might not be in agreement with that, but I know it right now, in regards to transportation, it's extremely hard for us as a district to juggle the charter schools, our schools outside of Rochester, and the schools in, our schools. So just want to put that out there.
Where do folks stand with the FNP? Do we feel that that's something that that we should maintain on the agenda, or are folks saying yes? Yeah. Yes.
With the FMP, I think it's important that we continue to advocate for that because we don't have enough in our capital year after year to repair the buildings. Like, we absolutely need those capital dollars for the FMP so that we can restore, repair our buildings. And we have a lot of old buildings in our inventory. So, Superintendent, you'll realize that even though we get a different budget for capital improvement projects, it's just not enough. And so hopefully, we can get another phase, hopefully, out of the state and repair some of our other oldest standing buildings that still need lots of repairs. But yeah, we should be advocating for that.
Yep, and so that was on the list to keep, and so there's reinforcement there. And then someone lifted pre-K and special education. In the context, it's written here. And then transportation. If we add transportation, it would be, so if we were putting these 5 forward, it would be transportation or pre-K if we were staying committed to the 3 to 5. So we have foundation aid, which we know. We have FMP. We have CTE, social, emotional, and mental health. And then our 5th one would be either transportation or pre-K special education. And we have to look at it in the context in which this is being advocated for, and if we want to change language. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, my support is in transportation. I think it's a big issue in our district right now.
Okay. I think we've got 5. All right. I'll read that back one last time. We've got foundation aid, CTE, social, emotional, and mental health, F&P, and transportation as the 5 key priorities of interest from the Board of Education to put forward. We, again, will have additional conversation at our upcoming work session where administration will be able to bring recommendations in alignment with this conversation, with an opportunity to move forward by December 18th and hopefully meeting the January 13th deadline. With no other conversation on the legislative priorities, we're going to move forward into the second readings, and this is regarding policies 4526, 4532, 4730, 4750, and 5605. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, just for the policy around homework, I just want to remind everyone that it's important that if we are creating policies, that those policies are being implemented in our district all the way around. And also for voter registration for students, of course, is a policy that I'm in big support of. I even might recommend putting in the policy for the district to celebrate National Voter Registration Day, which happens once every year, the 3rd Tuesday of September, I believe, the 3rd or 2nd. But my recommendation is to add in there that the district celebrates the Voter Registration Day and makes initiatives to get students registered that day. And so that's a recommendation for some language in the policy.
Thank you. You were able to capture that, Clerk Nguyen? Okay. Any other discussion regarding the policies on the table? With no further discussion, these policies are at the second readings piece, and so what we will be doing is forwarding these policies to the December business meeting for a vote. So I do want to remind commissioners that if there's something that you figure out afterward and you say, hey, I've got a quick question around that, or you want to enter that into the board question log, you do have that opportunity to get that clarity prior to the December 18th board business meeting, where we again will vote on the policies that we just placed through the second readings. They will go into their third. The next item on the table is the second reading for the video conferencing policy, and that is policy number 2325. We're going to open that up for discussion at this particular time. I do have, I was looking at the track change version, I think, on this, and there was a little bit of language that I wanted to make sure I was clear on. And it talked about this annual maximum. And so I feel like, I know we are trying to look at this as, can't just be missing business meetings. And I think, oh, there it is. It says once per quarter, that's like 4. But I would like to have language in there that specifies that if extenuating circumstances are, present, that, because you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, you can only miss 4 and you've reached your limit, and but that's not for us to dictate, I don't think. So I just wanted to figure out how we can make sure that language is clear, that we're not holding someone to, you missed that and you can't come back.
Yeah. If I could just offer, reviewing the clean copy is just a little bit easier to understand the flow of where things are in the document. And so the reference to the once a quarter applies to section 1, which is when commissioners video conference and they're sharing their locations to the public, and the public can join, and those individuals count in a quorum. The second portion of the policy talks about extraordinary circumstances, which would cover the emergencies that you're referring to, and there's no limits assigned to that.
Okay, so this one is more so like a convenience one, or the public session, you're saying?
When-
The point 1?
Right, if you're not video conferencing for an extraordinary reason, then it would be where you have to have a location open to the public, and that's
Okay.
the one that you would be limiting.
Perfect, so it's still honoring that people might just need the convenience of doing it at times. Okay, that's what I wanted to
Correct.
do, and then we have the extraordinary circumstances there. I see that number 3 doesn't have, I'm still looking at track changes, so
Okay.
I might have to go back to the clean. I'm okay with just recessing. I went back and was like kind of pondering on that conversation. And so, because when we recess, it stops, so it ends the meeting, and we just have to recess if we find ourselves in a circumstance where that happens. I want to open up the floor for any further discussion on video conferencing. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, my only disagreement is that right now it is tailored that you can only join virtually 1 time per quarter, which is only 4 times a year. And I just think that for the issues that we're speaking about, extraordinary circumstances and so on, I don't know if that's really a good thing to have in the policy for 4 times 1 year. And so that's my only disagreement. Thank you.
I thought we said 2. I thought it was 2.
I'd like to agree with Commissioner Santiago, and this is a change from our prior discussions. We never know what's going on in people's lives, and similar to something that Commissioner Santiago brought up at a prior discussion on this was, creating barriers for participation as board members. And I would hate to create any type of barrier for people being able to serve in this capacity based on either, their unique jobs that they might have. We don't all have the same schedules. We have commissioners in so many different lines of work, and I don't want to create any barriers. And I think prior I had said that we should limit it to only twice.
Yeah.
And
That's too little.
I would like to retract that fully. I don't have an issue with the number of times that board members need to video conference. I think we can trust our peers to make those professional decisions as needed, and certainly as related to their family situation. So I'd just like to retract that and push forward no limit.
Yeah, I wasn't too in favor of the two. I think the original thing was like at least 5 times. And then where did the one time per quarter come from?
I can chime in, President Simmons. That was my recommendation. My understanding was the last work session that this was discussed that I missed. The board's will was twice, actually. And as I saw that, I thought twice was too limiting.
Me too.
And would come across as maybe too arbitrary and capricious, which is a standard that someone could challenge it on. So I thought once a quarter was more reasonable. I understand the concerns that Commissioner are having about limiting at all. And yeah, that is a potential concern.
Yeah.
As Clerk Wynn pointed out, that limit does not apply to extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, that's what I want to be clear on.
That was
Yeah.
the other piece where board members can video conference if their location is open to the public, right? So technically, somebody could sit in Starbucks and attend a board meeting, as long as the members of the public are there and able to hear and see you and things like that. So the limitation was more about that
Gotcha.
piece, not the extraordinary circumstances.
Perfect.
But again, I mean, this is a will of the board thing, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the second
Yeah.
reading. If there's a different directive, then we can
Yeah.
follow up.
So the number, one per quarter, the per quarter is like, whoa, because for me, it's not about being too restrictive, but it is about being able to maintain quorum. It's about being able to not have to count almost every board business meeting and wondering and holding your breath if we're going to be able to start on time, and so that we can handle the business of the board. But I certainly, the 4 is actually closer to what I first recommended, which was 5. And for me, it wasn't even each quarter, it's just whenever you kind of need it, but you're limited to 5, per year, right? Over the year timeframe, because you might need to use it, but that does, to your point, not include the extenuating circumstances. So with extenuating circumstances, it could be more, but so I want to honor that flexibility, and I like that direction. I don't know if the per quarter, because that's like per marking period, I don't know. But I do like opening up to 5, putting a cap on that, with the caveat that if our extenuating circumstances are present, that we can honor that. It doesn't limit them. Were there any other thoughts on the video conferencing policy at this time? Commissioner Griffin?
Yeah, I hear again, I'm going to be redundant, but I just think it needs to be said. We want our kids to go to school every day, and we are on the dais talking about how we can attend meetings, and how we need to have 5 absences. I think it's just really ridiculous. I think that I said that if the teachers can come to school, the custodians, and all these other people can make it to school, and we don't have as many days to come to a meeting, I just don't see why we're beating a dead horse about something like this when we're elected to do a job. So for me, it was 2. We agreed on the 2, and then it went back up to 4, and now it's at 5. I just think it's ridiculous. I think that we have a job to do, and we just need to be able to come and do it. And we do have extenuating circumstances that arise. I get it. But I mean, I think we are adults here, and I think that we need to, and need to take our oath seriously. And I just think that it's ridiculous that we're back at this talking about 4 or 5 when we were at 2. When we left in the last meeting. So I really think this is truly a waste of time. I really do. I think that we need to move forward, vote on it. If you're gonna abstain. But this going back and forth and this carrying on like this about a video conference is ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, the purpose of the video conferencing conversation that I think no one wants to have to do is to make sure that we are able to have our board meeting. There's a lot of folks that come not on time for the board meeting. Again, we have to count, and we're wondering if we're going to be able to have the actual board meeting. And so with that respect, I do want to take a look at where we are with the conversation. That was the only point of concern for me, was that per quarter, was that too restrictive? Because the objective is not to tie everyone up and hold them hostage, but to be reasonable, and that's where we are with it. So I'm going to take two last comments on this particular.
I haven't commented once yet.
Okay, so I'm going to start here, and then that's our three last comments, and then we will make a decision on this particular policy. Because it might not be you today, but one day it might be you. And you want to make sure that the policy is flexible enough to support each and every person in a responsible way. So with that, Commissioner Patterson, thank you so much.
Welcome, thank you. I have to agree with Commissioner Griffin. We have to put some parameters on there, and as you said, quorum and things of that nature, that we have to make sure that we always have. And if it's loose, where people are just taking off or video conferencing anytime they like, why should I even come to a meeting, if we don't have any parameters around it? I might as well video conference from my house, every single night that we have a meeting. But again, as the Council of Great City Schools indicated, we set the bar, the board. And if we want to change the rules just because of COVID and say, okay, now we have video conferencing, we don't have to come to a meeting. We know, everyone on this board knows that this policy is abused by board members. And for us to sit here and try to make, not construct it or put parameters on how many times you can video conference, that's not fair to the community. That's not fair to anyone else in this room that comes in here and is present for each board meetings. That's not fair to your superintendent. It's just not fair. So we took this oath, like Commissioner Griffin said. When we took the oath, we knew that we had to attend meetings in person. And it's only fair to the public that we abide by that oath and we show the public that we're committed to being present in handling these issues that are so very important. We're talking about kids that, again, aren't graduating on time. They aren't reading on grade level. How much time is spent? I think we spend more than 50% of our time on other issues than student outcomes. We're not truly focusing on where we should be, as board members, and the importance of being present in handling those issues. So I applaud what she just said. It's factual, and we have to set the tone, as board members, for the rest of the administration. Thank you.
And that was very strong, Commissioner Patterson, and you're so right. Not only do we need to be present, but we also need to be on time. So with that, I have two other comments, and that is, I'm going to just go this way, Vice President Malloy and then Commissioner
Thank you.
Santiago.
And I can certainly appreciate the sentiments being expressed by our commissioners. And, it is important to be here on time. It is important to be here in person. And I think this is a really great opportunity that we have discussed this for so long, because it is a robust discussion and it needs to be talked about. I don't think we're beating a dead horse here. I think that we've had time to really be thoughtful and pensive around this issue. And you never know when it's going to be you. You never know when a sudden work requirement, if you work for a certain organization or whatever, like you might have more than 5 instances in a quarter when you need to do something or handle business with your outside work. I'm not speaking for myself here, but I want to extend that grace to other people who serve the community in a variety of ways, and I think we need to have high expectations of ourselves, but we have to be understanding when there might be work circumstances that happen in a given year for certain commissioners. We're certainly living in unprecedented times, and I think even recently we see people who have certain types of work needing to not be here in person, but are able to participate in video conferencing because of the demands of their work. And I appreciate that, and I've had time to think about that. And we should hold ourselves accountable, but you never know when that's going to be you. And I think that if we get too specific in this policy, we paint ourselves into a corner potentially. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, sorry, I'm putting it down. I also just want to say, even if it was 2 as a requirement, majority of the board members here would already have hit their 2 required. And so, like, with the policy, there's no way that we can write it and we're not looking at our current circumstance. Like, there's a lot of commissioners that join online more than twice a year, and it's not conducive to like truly what this board has been through. But I'll also say that 5 to 6 is a good number. I do not think that 2 is a good number. I do not think 1 1/4 is a good number. But I think 5, 6, 7, 8 is a lot better for an entire 365-day year. We also don't know what's going to happen in the upcoming years and the upcoming months that may call us to be more active. I mean, when we had the superintendent search, we were here almost every day throughout the week. And so there are instances where online is better. So I just want us to keep that in mind. And be accountable to ourselves. I mean, majority of the board members have joined Zoom more than twice this year, and they're trying to say for next year, we're gonna only do twice a year, and it doesn't make sense to what we're truly trying to do as a board. So that's just the final of my comments.
Yeah, for the record, I have not been on Zoom all year, but.
No, I'm just saying more than twice this year. And even the people who supporting twice a year have been on the Zoom more than twice this year alone. And so if we're making a policy, we have to be thoughtful for where we currently are as a board.
That's why we're having the conversation, because I agree with you, Commissioner Santiago. Might not be me today, and I can say, oh, I've been at every meeting, but it could be me tomorrow. And when it's tomorrow, what kind of grace do I want extended to me, and what's reasonable? So with that said, we're here.
I did have my hand
And we
up.
do have to make a decision on this particular policy. I would recommend this evening, because it has been an ongoing conversation, and I do think we've put a lot of thought into it. I would like, my recommendation is that we do amend the language around the 1 per quarter, make that maybe about 5. It sounds like that might be
That is
a position
ridiculous.
folks are in. We could add be on time, but then we're just going down the mulberry bush.
Can I say
with it.
something, please? Because I did have my finger up.
I'm sorry. You might have stepped away, Commissioner Griffin.
No, I didn't.
Respectfully,
No, I didn't. I was sitting
but
right here.
If I can finish
I
my
just didn't think
if
you
I can
seen
finish
me,
my
that's all.
sentence, what I expressed as I facilitated the conversation is that Commissioner Patterson was able to go, and I was going to take 3 last statements, ending with Commissioner Santiago. And so we've ended the dialogue, but we do have an opportunity to either amend or what have you. I'm looking to amend language in this. I'm okay with pretty much everything that's been presented. I think it's reasonable and not too crazy. I just do want to amend around the number, that whole quarter, and make that 5, if commissioners are amenable to that. And they may not be, and I respect that as well.
Well, the next time that I'm late, I'll make sure not to text you because I was coming from another board meeting. Since you want to come out there and say something about being late, I don't appreciate that, and I
Well-
don't appreciate your sarcasm about it, because you said it to me twice. So I'm
Commissioner
gonna
Griffin,
just let
I don't
you
want
know
to
that.
recess
Thank
the
you.
meeting, but many of us have been late for the meeting. And thank you, Commissioner LeBron, you were late as well, that's right. So many of us have come here late, and this is not personalized, and I'm not meaning for the hit dog to holler. However, that is what it is. So where I am with it is we have to be on time for our board meetings. And this is not personalized towards you. You're not the only one. Commissioner LeBron just said that. But I do want to, General Counsel, is not have I don't want to go into a personalized dialogue. This is really around the conduct of the board.
Right.
And so I don't want to add too much to this policy. What do we need to do if we're looking at the 5?
Right, so I believe this is just a second reading, right?
Yeah.
Right, so it's a second reading, so it can be changed before it comes to the board for a
Perfect.
vote. So it wasn't going to be voted on tonight, so if the will of the board is 5. So it's important to understand the actual, the legal expectation is that the board is here in person. That's the truth. The video conferencing is not a convenience thing. You know, and I think it's important that I relate it to the board. The 5, the number that we're talking about, that applies to board members having the public open to their location. So that 5 number, that only applies to, hey, if you're going to video conference, that means wherever you are, there are members of the public able to access that location. The other video conferencing
Gotcha.
under extraordinary circumstances is the one that, you know, the board can really set the criteria on what is extraordinary. But remember, it's extraordinary. It is not meant to be a convenience a thing. So it is. I mean, you know, there's conversations about work and things of that nature, and it's not for me to tell the board what is extraordinary or not. But the language and the definition, right, about what is extraordinary, that's in the policy. I think that's important for the board to have an understanding of. So that 5 number, so we can absolutely add it to 5, but that is when the public has access to your location. The other type of video conferencing still need 4 board members physically present, and then the board members who are not present could be absent for extraordinary circumstances.
Gotcha.
President Simmons, can I just quickly add to what General Counsel said? No board members have ever video conferenced under the open location to the public. So changing that number is not going to impact how you all have been engaging with this policy. Just,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's a whole nother separate and apart, not even touching on that other thing. Gotcha. So,
President Simmons?
yes, sir.
Can I just
State
make
Monitor,
a
weigh in,
quick
sir.
statement? I just want to remind that you're going through the training, and through the training, it's been said that the board set the expectation and the tone for the district. The way that you conduct business, you're expecting the staff to be here every day, you're expecting the students to be here every day. So we need to be role models for the students, the staff, and the families. When you decided that you were going to run for office, you knew that the board was having meetings every month.
Amen.
And things do happen, because things do happen. We all have families, we have issues, but you made a commitment. You ran for office, you owe it to the community. Thank you.
To be here, like, I'm proud of me. And so with that, I appreciate that, State Monitor. Thank you for that reiteration. So here we are. Okay, we're gonna get through it. I'm gonna stick beside it, and we're gonna do it. I think so then with that explanation, thank you for that clarity, General Counsel. We will, for me, I'll just go ahead and keep the language as is, because now I have that other clarity. I've talked about the strive for 5 and setting the tone. So with that, is everyone okay with the policy as it's written at this time? This is not a final vote, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to push it through. But once we push this through, it will become a matter of voting on the final policy.
And are we saying moving it forward with the 5 days or still the 1 day a quarter?
Well, General Counsel provided some clarity around what the 1 per quarter was, which is a total of 4. But that is, again, with the open meetings and the public location. It's different than what we were talking about, and it's also honoring the fact that this policy is not a matter of convenience. I don't want to be there because I didn't want to be here tonight because I'm a little under the weather, but not contagious. I'm okay. But conveniently, I need to be here. So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. This is not really an issue for myself. I am here, but it's really just thinking about future representation and things of that sort, and the restrictions that we put on ourselves. But I'll vote in favor just so we can.
So Commissioner Santiago, if I could just again reiterate, so there's no limitation on the board members' ability to video conference under extraordinary circumstances. It's about what is actually extraordinary circumstance, and the board holding itself accountable for actually meeting that threshold that it is actually an extraordinary circumstance. The definition in the policy, which is a high bar, it is not a convenience standard, it is a extraordinary standard. So there is no limitation on it. It's about the accountability of the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, and then I also agree, Clerk Nguyen, with the language around that they should be notifying anyone, including myself, notify yourself, copy in, and so that communication doesn't need to be directly to me on my phone or anything, but it would be emailed to the Board of Education office. Okay, perfect. So I'm ready to move forward with it, and I want to really be what's the word, fair, because I closed out the conversation a bit here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move this forward to, for the business meeting for a final vote, and which we have the ability to vote yes or no on this particular policy. That's what I think, that's the position at this time, it sounds like.
Yep, so you all would just need to take the motion that's there,
Yep.
accepting
So
the
you have-
revised policy language.
Yes, the motion to accept the revised policy language for 23-25 at this time, entertaining a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Malloy, seconded by Commissioner LeBron. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So we'll probably have to revisit the,
That
I'm sorry?
is- Oh, never mind, I'm sorry, I want to make sure I could count still, you're fine.
Okay. So I don't think we got all of the votes. It sounds like we may have 3 nays and 3 yays on it, so.
I heard 2 nays. I thought I heard Commissioner Griffin and Commissioner Santiago. Did anyone else say nay, or
So
did I miss
believe
that?
Commissioner Patterson,
I
I
have
don't.
I have another question for General Counsel before I vote.
That was 4.
Back up.
That was 4.
Okay, so it's 8:24. I do want to do a time check. I want to close this conversation by 8, like, in the next 3 minutes, we need to close it. And if I open it back up, then I'm going to need to concede to Commissioner Griffin, who also wanted to when I was closing the conversation, just to be fair with the dialogue. So, before you go, Commissioner Patterson, I'm going to go ahead and let Commissioner Griffin ask her question, and then I'll give you, since we're going to entertain it.
I said what I had to say. I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Patterson?
Respectfully speaking, is there anything that you'd add to this for clarification, not for really for clarification, I understand what you're saying, but would you add any other verbiage in here, or would you take anything out?
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. I looked at it, prior to coming to the board tonight, and I did make that recommendation about the once a quarter, that I think tied it to something that didn't seem as arbitrary as just 2. So I had an opportunity to comment. The truth is, I think the important element of the policy is the definition of extraordinary and the definition of disability, because those standards, that's the standard that the board has to hold itself to say, did this board member who's going to video conference meet the standard of extraordinary? I think that is the key part of the policy. So if the board is in agreement about the definition, because the law allows the board to set the definition of extraordinary, if the board is in agreement with the definition and will hold itself accountable, then I think the policy is okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the table for 23-25. I think there was points of clarity that were needed, and I do want to revisit that vote. All of those in support of policy 23-25 being revised and moving forward to the 3rd reading?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to do a roll call just so that we have clarity. Commissioner Griffin is a no. Commissioner Patterson? Okay. I'm a yay. Vice President Malloy?
Yay.
Commissioner Santiago?
Nay.
Vice President, Commissioner LeBron? Yes. So what do you have there, clerk?
Ayes, 2 nays, and waiting for Commissioner Patterson.
Okay. Okay, so we're not going to
Thank you.
here.
Thank you very much.
So right now, this language will not be, the revised language is not going to be accepted based on the votes.
Correct, ma'am.
So now, where does this go? Because we still take it forward to the third meeting?
Correct. It will still move forward to your third reading with the prior language, which I believe included the 2 meetings maximum. So we'll go back to that version of,
We're not going to, we're going to keep it at 2 meetings and not accept the 4, okay.
currently, that's what will go forward.
Okay.
Between now and the next business meeting, you all will be able to suggest other language because it still is in the reading.
Gotcha. Okay, wonderful. So with no further discussion on that matter, we will move forward on the agenda under new business. We have our first reading, so I'm going to try to identify that on the agenda. There we go. Okay, and first readings include policies 4765, 4772, 4830.1, and 4850. Those are online learning, graduation ceremonies, district community, collaborative presentations, and so on, use of animals in science instruction. With those policies in front of us, they're open on the floor for discussion at this time. Commissioner Santiago.
Can I ask a quick question to legal? How do I go back and change my vote? Is there a way that I can do that? I can go back and change my vote right now. I think I can make a motion to change my own vote.
There is a procedural, a motion to reconsider that can be brought by, but it has to be brought by the side that prevailed in the vote. So I guess if the vote failed, there could be a motion to reconsider made by the whoever prevailed in the outcome.
Well,
of
no
the-
one really prevailed. It was a stalemate because
a
there were
stalemate.
3 that were in favor, and then there were 3 who were in opposition.
So can I make a recommendation on this then, Commissioner? So in between now and the next time this policy comes up, in between now and the next time this policy comes up, I can send recommended language to the board and get direction, not from the board as a body, of course, but individual commissioners, and try to have something that the board can act on the next time this policy comes up that will meet the standard.
Sounds good.
And then it can be either voted up or down at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is
Thank
that
you.
okay with the board?
That works for sounds like there's a
And again,
an
individual
appetite for that.
individual commissioners can reach out to me, and I will, do my best to put something together. And again, the board will, I think, will meet the needs of the board the next time this policy comes up.
Might I suggest, is it possible by the board work session, the upcoming work session?
I think that's a good opportunity.
Timeline for the work session, and we can put this matter to bed, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
So with our first readings, we do have those open for discussion, 4765 through 4850. Were there any comments, questions, or concerns regarding those policies?
I want to go home.
No concerns? Okay, and with no discussion on those particular policies, these policies will move forward to the December business meeting, being December 18th, for their second reading. We have a quarterly academic plan update, and we will turn it over to you, Dr. Rosser.
So yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to provide, excuse me, an update on our academic plan. We've been working very hard since July to make sure that we're getting off to a good start with meeting the goals of the academic and fiscal plan. Before you today, I have Chief of Staff Jamie Warren, who will be leading this presentation this evening. Chief Warren, excuse me, Wilson.
It's all right. Good evening, President Simmons, Dr. Rosser, and Commissioners. Tonight, I'm providing an overview of our Quarter 1 academic financial report for the 25-26 school year. The report captures work across governance, instruction, operations, and finance, and keep in mind that this report is evidence drawn from July 1st through September 30th. You'll also see much of the first quarter included planning for the start of the school year with a focus on alignment to the board goals, also strategic planning, and receiving Dr. Rosser as the new superintendent in his 100-day plan during this period of reporting. The quarterly report is broken into two larger areas, academic and financial. There are 44 recommendations under academics and 33 recommendations under financial. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about some of the progress that we've made. We had a state meeting with our monitors and the state administration about the report, and we are already in our quarter 2 currently. Under talent, under turnaround leadership, I want to start by acknowledging that there's been progress made by the board in leadership alignment. CGCS, student outcomes focused, has been the model that the board has been moving forward in. And the board during the quarter 1 has been working on strengthening board governance through the completion of the board goals, through participation in several retreats with CGCS, and also coaching with the council, as well as attending professional development opportunities that supported creating board goals and also guardrails. Also to report the transition of East, moving from the EPO back to RCSD. We're excited to report that all 31 agreed upon areas have been honored, and we continue to work with East as they continue through their progress. Attention is being made onto the 9th grade monitoring system to make sure that we are providing early intervention in accordance to the board goal with ensuring that all of our 9th graders have 5 credits. And so there was considerable planning on the monitoring systems for that they are conducive for making sure that progress is made across the district. Some key steps and some next opportunities. Looking ahead, and in quarter 2, we've been looking to finalize the superintendent interim goals, as Dr. Rosser reported. We look to bring those to the December board meeting to share. And also, training continues for board members as they look into the super eval tool to conduct the superintendent's evaluation. We're also looking to continue our leadership development, making sure that our leadership is aligned to our strategic plan. Dr. Wright's office has been working to ensure that our leaders are sitting through various instructional developments and instructional professional developments to increase their instructional leadership. Receivership schools will continue to align staffing and budgeting, working on the progress monitoring of school improvement, and finalizing their school improvement plans during quarter 2. Finally, we'll monitor, again, the 9th grade credit attainment more closely as the marking period is ending. We're still in the reporting period too, so I look to provide with more data in the implementation phases as we go throughout the year. Quarter 1, again, a lot was aligned to the planning stages of the school year. Under talent development, some key areas is that we focused on leadership development at the beginning of the school year, Leadership Summit, which was focused on instructional leadership. Through that, there was various sessions that leaders participated in to ensure that impactful decision-making occurred, coaching, and that, again, were aligned to the strategic plan and the board goals. We continue with Leadership Academy for aspiring leaders, for current leaders, as we continue to leverage internal expertise and mentoring. Under talent and opportunities, some of our next steps include increasing the professional development engagement across all of the district, all employee groups, and expanding the use of walkthroughs to ensure that we're aligned and that we have observation notes on areas that we need improvement. We will continue to strengthen the Leadership Academy and our leadership pipeline as we work to grow our staff internally, and we have a clear succession planning stages and strategies to ensure that we are growing our own. Certification and retention remain a high priority focus as we move into Q2. We'll be looking to launch, I think Dr. Rosser talked about Teach Rochester. Those things are in planning stages, and we look to have a more report out on Q2. As we move through to instructional transformation, strategic review of the 2025 summer programming is underway. There was a successful implementation of the 2025 extended school year for students with disabilities and exceptionalities. We've launched our Strive for 5 campaign, which launched 42 school-based attendance teams to ensure every school has an attendance team that is focused on early interventions and supports for our families in need. We've also looked to expand our multi-language communication tools and our community engagement strategies as we work together as a district to improve our attendance rate. We've also developed a tiered curriculum expectation communication tool for principals aligned to the strategic plan, aligned to the state goals, and also our assessment plan. So again, you'll hear a lot of talk about alignment because this quarter is July through September. And so the implementation of that has just started as we received our students in the fall. As we move forward, we need to increase consistency on that implementation, particularly with attendance interventions, impactful decision-making, and assessment alignment. And as we move forward, you'll hear a lot from Dr. Wright's team as she talks about being impactful with our decisions and making sure that the strategies that we're using are aligned to our student outcomes and that we are mindful of the progress monitoring tools that we use to ensure that's happening. We're also looking to expand our data dashboard. A lot of our parents have talked about being transparent with our data, and so our teams have been working hard to ensure that our dashboards do just that, and we're excited to launch some new data points for those dashboards here in the next coming weeks. We also continue to target our receivership schools and identify early improvement strategies and also maintain high-fidelity MTSS implementation. As we look through the culture shift, our culture and communication efforts are expanding as we work to rebuild trust with families and the broader community. We've expanded our parent communication efforts, including things like course catalogs and high school selection materials, all in preparation to be rolled out here in the next few weeks. We're also looking for translation services so that we are multilingual access to our families. There was just today an approved contract that will probably be in the evidence for Q2. We're working to empower parent voice and strengthen engagement. During the course of July through September, there was a high focus on the superintendent's 100-day plan where we centered around community forums, fireside chats, parent community meetings, and several district events. We are also working to expand our Choose RCSD enrollment campaign, and we're continuing to plan and improve the competitiveness and reinforce the belonging our students feel at our schools. Some opportunities for growth and things that we're going to continue on planning for is strengthening parent leadership trainings. Right now we are reactive, and so a lot of the Office of Parent Engagement is answering phone calls and trying to support families in need. We want to change that model into a more proactive model and work on strengthening our parent leadership trainings and workshops and include parent universities. We're working to ensure full and sustained participation with our PTAs and PTOs, and we also want them to be part of our school-based planning teams. School-based planning teams are meeting regularly and are student-centered, and we want to make sure that our decisions yield outcomes. We are also implementing targeted recruitment and retention strategies through the enrollment campaign, and you'll see us report further out over the course of the school year. Systems, resources, and structures. We're in the identification stage of evidence-based academic strategies for every grade span. So the teams are reviewing our current frameworks. We're also looking to our PLC expectations have been incorporated into our master schedules, and we're looking to streamline how those meetings go. So now that they have been incorporated into the master schedule, the opportunity for growth is the fidelity of how those meetings are running to ensure that we are student-centered in our conversations. In the future, our priorities include improving compliance for students with disabilities and strengthening how walkthrough data informs our instructional improvement. We're also looking at a common instructional walkthrough form to gather implementation data and inform professional learning opportunities for our staff. And we will continue moving with PLCs, and I'll talk a little bit about them towards the end of the presentation, from structure to impact, and ensuring that collaboration, and that we have collaboration time and that it's directly contributing to student success. In the finance and operations, from a fiscal perspective, we began the year by stabilizing the leadership with hiring the CFO. Also, a focus on the position control, which is a recommendation also in the report. We've also presented the board some of the progress on those position controls, and we continue to provide a review of our finances. And obviously, we've been presenting Oracle right now as a high priority. It's not exactly written in our plan, but of course it is instrumental into our success in our finances and our stabilization. Moving forward, we're looking to continue expanding. One of the areas in the plan talked to the hiring of a budget executive director, which we're moving forward in that. Or further alignment of our class sizes and staffing adjustments as we look to plan for our budget. And we are also preparing proactive strategies in anticipation of potential federal funding. And we've heard that with Chief McDowell and Dr. Rosser talk about our preparation in those areas. We're continuing to strengthen in legal and financial audits. We're continuing to strengthen our oversight with MOAs, MOUs, CBAs to ensure financial accountability. We're also having a review team look at those MOAs before we provide them. The legal department is ensuring strong oversight and fiscal accountability. There's been some self-auditing processes that have been initiated in the Facilities and Operations Department to assess best practices, structures, and operational efficiencies. Our next steps include completing and presenting all of our correction and our corrective action plans with a complete data points for us to share out and to end them with completions. We're continued monitoring as needed to ensure timely implementation of audits and the recommendations that come across each department. Under the budget development, there are lots of different areas that are already presented to you by way of Chief McDowell monthly, but participating in the budget process is underway, as you are aware. There's an emphasis on parent and community engagement as well as staff voice. What I want to point out is that we did not share the evidence past September, and so those meetings have already taken place, and Dr. Rosser has just presented to you the findings of those meetings, which will also add as evidence in Q2. Under organization structure and operational efficiencies, we are continuing to strengthen Medicaid documentation process with automated alerts We're also looking at energy efficiency, working to continue to, in our facilities, making sure that LED conversations and HVAC optimizations are happening. The facilities management plan is being monitored quarterly. There will be a report made to the board on where we stand with facilities. And also, we're continuing to look at transportation. It's been a conversation almost at every board meeting to ensure that our students are arriving to school on time safely, and that we are ensuring the same way on the way home. What I want to point out next, we're moving into 3 areas that were violations in our last quarterly report. So the first area, and I talked a little bit about that, if you look into our quarterly report, which is a very large document, it's in A44 to be specific. And the district administration is looking to strengthen our PLCs. So far, last year was a problem. There was not time in the teacher schedules to have a professional learning community meetings, and I don't know if you remember that. Right now, we're in a place where the master schedule has been created, and there is time allowed for PLCs. So as I said previously, we're moving forward with consistency in the meeting structure, and we're also looking for leadership training and coaching to ensure that the way the meeting is structured is conducive to talk about student outcomes and instructional strategies in the classroom. The next item is talking about the special ed consent decree. That report will be finalized and sent to the state before the next board meeting. And so Chief Swan will be standing before you to present the report for the consent decree. Right now, this is just a high-level overview, as she will provide much, much more information. But we have worked on the extended school year program. We have looked to improve placement process across the district for students with exceptionalities. We are ensuring that we are compliant and that we are looking to improve instruction for students with exceptionalities. We are increasing training support and accountability, and we also are looking to improve engagement with families and trying to, we had some events that happened over the course of the Q1. We also have had the CPAC parent family meetings that are happening on a consistent monthly basis. We also have in area A20, which was also a violation, opportunities to expand our newcomer program. And so we're looking to strengthen our student transition plans, and we have done that. There are meetings that are happening about the ways that we can support our students as they transition back to their home school. We're also looking at expanded opportunities that exist for newcomer programs. The program and district leaders are exploring best practices for newcomer education. We just had a meeting with the International Network Schools where we had a large group go to Harlem to visit a few spaces and programs to give us an idea of how we can expand. That won't be in Q1 because that just happened maybe the last 2 weeks, and remember, Q1 ended at the end of September. But we will look to add that information in our Q2 report. Next slide, thank you. So if you look, we do have just an overall view of the quarterly report. As you can see, the academic plan and the fiscal plan are broken down into further categories. What you see before you is what would be considered on track and in progress. On track for us is recurring actively, and it's implemented at least 75% of the time. And so what in progress means is that it's occurring, and it's an activity that is happening. However, we have not seen that it's gone to the level of 75% of the time during Q1. Obviously, as we progress through the year, our Q2 report should reflect that there should be more implementation in the on-track areas and less implementation on, less implementation in progress.
So thank you very much, Chief Wilson. Board President, are there any questions?
I'll open up the dais for questions, and I do see a hand by Commissioner Griffin.
Thank you for your report. I have a couple of questions or concerns. One, I don't see enough data in your report. And I would like to see more of that. Secondly, I did need an understanding of a turnaround leadership. What is your definition of that when you say turnaround leadership?
Yes, so first, this document is also made available to you online. So in the document, there are evidence that is reported throughout the district. So every department, teachers, we collect data from every level. And then we implement and we look at the data and we analyze it and then we put it in our report. So the evidence or the data that you're looking for would be in those reports, in those folders if you click on them. So if you go into A1 and you are interested to see, I just summarized it here, but if you were interested to see artifacts, you would click on that folder and you would be able to go into that section and see those artifacts. That would be considered the evidence that is collected in the report. There are several pieces of data that also are entered in that report as evidence, but it's a very large document, and just for the ease of the board, I just did a high-level overview, but that information is available to you.
I want you to understand that we are in the public eye, and the public needs to see it. So you need to figure out a way for the public to see what we can see, because they might not have access to that. So when we're in the meetings, we want to make sure that we're being very transparent to the public. So I don't know which way you can do that to make sure that the next time that we have information so the public can see it, not just us, because we want to make sure that our stakeholders are able to see what we can see. You explained everything. I get that. I do appreciate that, but we have to make sure that we are also addressing the people outside of us, okay? But, yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Commissioner Patterson.
Thank you. Let's see. Chief Wilson, thank you very much for your report. I just like to commend you regarding slide 5. I've talked about an enrollment campaign, for some time. You also mentioned in next steps, third bullet, enrollment campaign, or PR campaign. So we can complain all day, about charter schools and, what they're taking from us, but I loved it when you mentioned this as a solution. This is a solution to that, having a campaign. And there's another person in the building, a secretary whose name I don't think she wants me to mention, but she had also noted that, we should be doing more than a year ago, before Dr. Rosser came in, that we should be doing some type of a campaign. So I applaud you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Any other questions, concerns, or comments regarding the presentation this evening? If not, thank you very much, Chief Wilson.
Thank you very much, Chief Wilson. That concludes our presentation for this evening on Q1 of our work towards fulfilling the obligations and working towards the goal of the academic and fiscal plan.
Wonderful. With that, at this time, the board, I apologize. State Monitor, I did not see you, and forgive me.
Thank you. Commissioner Griffin, the term turnaround leadership, that was a term that was identified 5 years ago when the plan was put together. We are in the process of developing a new 3-year plan for the district. But the turnaround leadership means about the work that the Board of Education is doing, the work that the superintendent is doing, working together to turn around the Rochester City School District. So there are some areas that we have seen progress. The area of the PLC is still a violation. Again, I want to commend the district for the work that they're doing. They're doing some extra work at the elementary level, doing PLCs after school. They're working to address middle and high school level.
Thank you for that explanation. And can I just say something for the record,
Yes,
too?
Commissioner Griffin?
I just wanted to say we had a speakers forum the other day, and a lot of people weren't able to speak. And I want to know if the board would be amenable to making some type of change to that, so that that never happens again. I think that we cut out a lot of voices the other day that were not able to speak at the speakers forum, and the one teacher, or I think she was a principal, was kind of upset about that. So I know that when I don't know who has ever been in like Spectrum or whatever, but they have like have a thing when you come in, you sign your name up, and you have it so that your people can just sign in. But I think what we should do is have a system where it's not actually people calling in to speak, that we should have a running list so that we are not missing people, and they're able to speak, if not at that particular forum, at the next one. So I don't know if we could do something to address those concerns, but I definitely would want that on the record as something that we should do.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Griffin. That is not a topic for tonight, but Commissioner Santiago and I actually had that very same conversation around maybe we want to look at that. So with respect for where we are on the agenda, what I would do is maybe look to Clerk Nguyen to put that on the as a topic for the upcoming work board session so that we can have a dialogue around that. With that said, I would like to move forward on the agenda. We're moving into executive session. The board may convene into executive session to discuss matters. Am I missing something?
No, I'm sorry, before you do that, I just want to get clarity on the last agenda item and
Yes.
your last statement about moving it. Is the board voting to put this on the agenda for the work session? Like, are you all asking for that, or was that just a recommendation you were making specifically? I just want to get direction so we know.
Moving.
Because that agenda's a little heavy already, so I just want to be clear if you wanted to move the speaker forum discussion to the work session
I think
agenda.
there's it sounds like a robust appetite to probably open it up more broadly, so I don't anticipate it being a.
Oh, I just want to get clarity if that's
Yes,
what
but
you all
yes,
are
to
doing.
move that
Okay.
particular item to the work session, so it's an actual agenda item for discussion. And with that, the board may convene into executive session to discuss matters leading to the employment status of specific individuals pending or current litigations with the general counsel, and/or to discuss matters of concern with the general counsel. Entertaining a motion to exit into executive session.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Santiago. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, executive session will take place here on the third floor, and we will not be returning to the board business meeting. Clerk Nguyen, do we need to close out from executive session, or?
So executive session will be downstairs on the second floor.
Second floor, please forgive me.
And you will adjourn the meeting from there, so you will not return to the
We'll
dais.
adjourn it there, so we'll adjourn downstairs, second floor. Thank you.